for the next conference, I have the pleasure to introduce you to Tariq Krim, who is the CEO of JoliCloud, Jean-Baptiste Hironde, the CEO of eDJing, Jean-Daniel Guyot, CEO and co-founder of Capitaine Train, Kevin Abosch, who's a visual artist, and Renaud Visage, the co-founder and CTO of Eventbrite. And they will be talking about how you can build the perfect product.
Hi, everyone. If you're fine with this, we're going to speak in English. Is anyone against this? Raise your hand. OK, good. So this is a really interesting panel, and I think it's an interesting subject about why do we start a company. And of course, a lot of people see when you build a company, it's a great business opportunity, or it's something you see and you can do it better, you can do it faster, you can out-execute. That's what the Swammer brothers talked about when they are cloning all these companies. We're going to out-execute the competition. But also, and in many cases, the reason we get to do a startup is just to build a great product. And of course, a company is an act of business, but it's also an act of creation. And as you know, we live in a world where better products are actually the one getting traction. And for a long time, I don't think France was known for building amazing product, taking care of the UI. And obviously, we know it's not true. And I think each of you guys, what I'd love to do is probably tell us about how do you think product and why product is important, but also what are the advice you would give to anyone who wants to start a company and believes as well that product is the core essence of what makes a company successful? What are your best advice? So maybe I should start with you. Why not?
Why not? Yeah, sure. For those who don't know me, I'm Renaud Visage, the co-founder of Eventbrite. We're event management platforms used by events similar like this one. And we had a lot of events last year. We organized 1 million events. So we have a product that's being used pretty much all over the world. We didn't intend to do that. That's a result of the ubiquity of the web. Everyone can have access to everything online as long as you help them find it. And we started the company to fill a need. Like, we realized event organizers didn't really have any tools at their disposal to quickly create an event page and start selling tickets for their events. So we decided to create not the perfect product, because I don't believe in the perfect product. I think that doesn't exist. We built a product. It was very minimal at the beginning, but it really resonated with the event organizers crowd. They had no tools, so we were in a good space. Like, nobody had really addressed the market. We were very proud of our product, of course, but there was a long way to go for us. And it's been going on since then. We started 8 years ago. We've gone through many, many iterations with always the goal in mind to create the best product, the perfect product. But everything changes all the time. So
I have a question, because you've obviously built an iconic, huge product used worldwide. But one of the interesting things about you is you live in San Francisco and in Paris. You've been in both cities. How do you see a difference in how people perceive product here in San Francisco?
I think product is very sacred in San Francisco. Everybody is looking for your product and your vision, less about the numbers and how much revenue you're going to bring. We'll talk about that at some point, but it's not the first thing they look at. They look at the potential, they look at what you've accomplished, what your product looks like, what your users are thinking of your product. When we got our first large round with Sequoia, they actually talked to a lot of our customers to know what they felt about the product, why they picked us, and what was the connection with the company, much more than what our bottom line was.
Great. Jean-Daniel, you're like one of the new generation of product-focused company out of France, and obviously your company has turned into a commoditized action. It's just booking train into a whole experience. And how would you comment on, like, how do you see the perception around product changing here in France, and how do you see yourself evolving in this environment here?
There are two things. I think there are more and more companies focused on the product now. I mean, every new startup understands now that they need to focus on the product. And how did we evolve in the perception of the product? Is a good question, because in fact we focus first on the design side of the product, but a product is not only that. A product is where the technology, the design, the marketing, the distribution meet, and this is something we now understand more and more in Paris, I think.
So you believe that French companies today can build products that can take over the world?
Yes, definitely.
What's Jean-Baptiste, if you want to speak in, you think you'd rather be comfortable in French, if you don't mind, I'm going to do a live switching. There's a button. It's a product design, so I'll just start en français. Toi, tu as créé un produit absolument incroyable de musique qui a une audience, je crois, 18, 20 millions
Aujourd'hui, 18 millions d'utilisateurs. Ouais.
Incroyable. Et tu as fait ça ici, quoi.
Alors, c'est fait à Paris, donc à Boulogne-Billancourt. Et juste 2 mots sur eDJing, donc c'est la première application sociale de mix cross-platform, donc iOS, Android, Windows. Et nous, on s'est effectivement focusé sur donc créer une table de mixage pour le grand public. On avait commencé au début sur le web, et effectivement, le produit ne répondait pas aux attentes des utilisateurs d'un point de vue ergonomie. Et le jour où le smartphone est arrivé, on a donc recodé l'application, on l'a portée sur iPhone. Et dès les 15 premiers jours, on a enregistré 400 000 utilisateurs.
Alors, ça, c'est justement une des questions, je pense, que tout le monde se pose ici. Quand on fait une app, notamment une app qui va être portée, et ça, c'est une question que je poserai aussi après, Jean-Daniel, sur iOS et Android. Quand on est en France, est-ce qu'on a la capacité de pouvoir... On connaît toutes ces histoires incroyables d'applications... Flappy Bird et tout ça qui ont cartonné. Est-ce qu'aujourd'hui, donc c'est facile en France de pouvoir développer et j'allais dire avoir non seulement une audience, mais aussi un chiffre d'affaires significatif sur le store? Alors
nous, donc, le résultat, c'est qu'on a donc, mis l'applicatif en ligne. Il était en anglais et en français. Et automatiquement, on a été téléchargé dans 182 pays. Et aujourd'hui, on a 95% d'audience internationale. C'est-à-dire qu'en fait, la France, je crois que c'est le 7e pays en termes d'audience sur notre service. Donc en fait, pourquoi ça s'est passé comme ça? Parce qu'aujourd'hui, les parcs de devices les plus gros sont aux États-Unis, donc surtout au niveau du Mexique et du Brésil, il y a quand même beaucoup de devices sur Android qui sont en train d'arriver. En Asie, il y a énormément aussi de clients. Donc en fait, l'audience est là où il y a les clients. Donc c'est pas parce qu'on est en France, vu qu'on fait un service nous qui est, on va dire entre guillemets universel, il y a très peu de texte sur l'applicatif. Le produit il est user-friendly, il est compatible sur tous terminaux et automatiquement, là où il y a des viviers d'utilisateurs, l'applicatif en fait, si elle est de qualité, il y a une stratégie virale qui est bien mise en place dans l'application, automatiquement c'est un succès.
Toi, Jean-Daniel, quelle est ton expérience? Vous avez aussi démarré sur le web et puis vous avez basculé sur sur iPhone, vous avez une application, je sais pas, je crois que vous avez une application Android ou qui est sur le point. Voilà. Quelle est l'expérience par rapport au store?
Alors nous, c'est un petit peu spécifique parce que les gens utilisent à la fois le web et à la fois les apps pour acheter leur billet de train. Et en plus, on est on a une contrainte géographique qui est que les trains ne vont pas partout dans le monde. Mais on touche effectivement, on touche des publics, par exemple américains, australiens, sud-africains, qu'on n'aurait pas touché facilement. Les gens juste tapent billet de train en Europe et hop, tombent sur notre app sur les deux plateformes. Et ça, effectivement, ça nous a beaucoup apporté. Ouais.
Tu voulais ajouter quelque chose?
Alors effectivement, plus on arrive tôt sur le mobile et on prend le slot sur une verticale spécifique, plus on arrive à récupérer, on va dire, une place dominante sur ce segment-là, ce qui n'est pas le cas sur le web, parce que sur le web, il y a déjà beaucoup de compétiteurs. Sur le mobile, beaucoup moins. Je pense qu'il y a une prime d'opportunité sur le mobile aujourd'hui, ou en tout cas, nous, quand on est arrivé il y a 2 ans, qui nous a permis de faire ce qu'on a fait sur le mobile, ce qui était beaucoup plus compliqué sur le web, en fait.
So Kevin, you've been, you're a new startup founder. You've been an iconic photographer. You lived in Hollywood. You live in Los Angeles, sorry, and Ireland and France. How you actually obviously met a lot of entrepreneurs. You actually photographed the most iconic ones. What's your perspective on how we do product here and around the world? What's your thoughts on this?
I think I'm interested when we talk about product, what informs the product. As an artist, I'm interested in what starts as what we call the vision, and then how the conceptualization and the abstraction leads to developing the product, as opposed to somebody starts a company, they have access to some funds, or they think they're going to have access to some funds, and then create a product to satisfy the needs of a VC. In other words, don't just create a product for product's sake, but start with something, start with a seed that starts with an impassioned creativity.
So usually when we talk about product and VC in Europe, but especially in France, I remember a few years ago I wrote I did this presentation called Product CEO vs. the World. And one of the key insight that I had building NetVibe or JoliCloud is that it's really hard. It's easy to value the monetization and the revenue and tell that a business could grow faster than another business. But sometimes it's really hard to actually define if a team one vs another team can build a better product. And it sounds like we still have a hard time to value the product and the work built on product as a key differentiator and into valuations. So you've raised money here and we had a similar fund index. But how do you feel about the market? Do you think the VCs in Europe and especially in France understand that now? Is it something that they're taking in consideration when we talk about things like valuation, about investment? What's your thought on this?
I think that's changing. I mean, we raised some money like 2 years ago now, and we saw some really interesting point of view from the VCs. I mean, they weren't speaking about the product. They spoke about the Excel sheets we gave them, but that's all, and how we could get some more margin on this. And now I think the VC's world in Paris is changing about that. Not all VCs are changing, but some of them are, and that's very interesting to speak now about the product and how we can get the best customer experience and things like that. I think everybody here in the ecosystem is understanding what is a product, how we build them, how we need to invest on it. So I think that's a good point. Yeah.
You want to maybe...
I was just going to ask, is there enough local talent to support all this great product that everybody wants to build?
Yes, they are. Yeah. But they are all in the US.
Okay.
Well, when it comes to product, I feel like Europe has been always an amazing pool. I mean, think about it, when Facebook, they acquired Sofa, they basically said, oh, we're going to acquire all this design agency just to build a product out of the US. They brought a lot of people. If you look at companies like Dropbox or even Airbnb, or a lot of the team or a lot of the designers are actually, UX guys are actually European. But you, Renaud, you've been mentoring a lot. You've been going in like many of the sitcam, the camping and all that. So you met with a lot of European founders. What do you tell them when they approach you around the idea of what should I do? I have a great product. What should I do? What do you tell them?
I try first to understand why they think they have a great product.
Good point.
A lot of startups think they have a great product, but it's clear they're never going to find any users. So it's not just about the product, I think. You need to be realistic. Whatever you build doesn't have necessarily an audience, even though it's your passion. You've spent years on it. Maybe it's not the right product, or you need to tweak it. I think a lot of companies need that mentorship to know how to evolve their product.
So you don't believe, like, I think it was the founder of Vimeo who said, the best product is the one you build first for yourself, and then eventually it picks up store water orders. You don't believe in that idea?
No, I think you should build it first for yourself, but what is the next step? How are you going to find the VCs interested in your product? How do you find your users? How do you entice engagement from your users, and how do you make your applications or products more fun, more entertaining, more engaging, and grow your user base?
So I was just looking, because we have some question from the audience. I'm just going to try to jump in here, if you don't mind. So someone said, you don't need to be in the US to make an awesome product. Stop with this cliche. I think
that's true, I think. Yeah.
I totally
I see great products from everywhere. All the different accelerators I go to, there's people from all around the world creating products, talking to each other. I think the movement of incubators and accelerators is accelerating that thought and making everybody better.
So I have an interesting question. I think this is a very French question, if I may. I don't know who asked this question. I think it's Adopta. Faut-il faire une étude de marché pour construire le produit parfait? Do we need to do a market study to build a perfect product? What do you guys think? Who wants to answer that question?
Alors, concernant l'étude de marché, en fait, nous, ça a duré à peu près une journée. L'idée, c'est de se dire, voilà, moi, j'étais passionné par le mix. Et je me suis dit, moi je ne suis pas un DJ professionnel, je suis ingénieur, je suis étudiant comme les autres, et c'est quand même étonnant qu'autour de moi, il y ait autant de monde qui connaissent un DJ.
Pas comme les autres, hein, pas étudiant comme les autres. Si tu fais une app
oui.
qui fait des...
Mais bon, voilà, après, dans ce on va dire, ce segment-là d'étudiants, et l'idée c'est de se dire, aujourd'hui, tout le monde connaît un DJ autour de soi, et en fait, je me suis aperçu effectivement qu'il y avait un réel besoin par rapport à ça, personne n'y répondait, et c'est comme ça, effectivement, on a passé beaucoup plus de temps sur la définition du produit, vraiment, quels sont les features à mettre en avant, quels sont les features à développer pour cette cible. Et pareil sur le business model, beaucoup de travail, parce qu'à l'époque, on était les premiers à proposer une application de mix freemium. Et c'est ça, en fait, aujourd'hui, si vous voulez faire du B2C et faire du mass market, vous n'allez pas mettre des applications payantes, vous les mettre en freemium pour justement d'abord conquérir les users et après vous monétiserez. C'est souvent, je pense, le reproche qu'on peut faire à certains VC, c'est de toujours vouloir monétiser avant même de connaître le succès et l'audience, en fait. Nous, c'est un peu le problème qu'on a eu, c'est on a atteint 5-6 millions d'utilisateurs, et à ce moment-là, on a activé la monétisation, et là, on a rencontré, on va dire, un réel engouement pour le modèle, puisqu'on a été rentable en quelques semaines, en fait. Donc, mais on devait atteindre ces 5 millions ou ces 6 millions de users pour justement pouvoir appliquer le business model. Donc, on va dire, sur les études de marché, en fait, c'est un peu nous. On va dire, on est sur un business générationnel, on est notre premier client. Donc nous, les bêta-testeurs, c'est moi, c'est les gens du bureau, et en fait, c'est peut-être aussi pour ça qu'on construit le meilleur produit, parce qu'en fait, on le fait à notre image, et ça va être un peu un morceau de nous, en fait.
Tout le monde connaît l'histoire c'est le patron de la Motown, il faisait le test de sa secrétaire. À chaque fois qu'il avait un nouvel artiste, il le faisait écouter, et si elle trouvait que c'était génial, il signait l'artiste, sinon, malheureusement, et c'est intéressant parce que on a souvent cette discussion, on planifie beaucoup en France, on will look forward. Et moi, une des questions que beaucoup de gens doivent se poser ici aussi, c'est toujours la question du B2B et du B2C. C'est qu'en fait, on dit toujours en France, on veut faire le prochain Facebook, le prochain Google, on veut faire en fait la prochaine boîte consumer Internet. Mais on n'a pas tendance à vraiment beaucoup les financer, ou c'est beaucoup plus dur. Est-ce que vous pensez qu'aujourd'hui, quand on parle de produits, on parle souvent de consumer, mais ça veut dire qu'évidemment, il faut beaucoup d'utilisateurs, ou en tout cas, c'est un modèle où il faut beaucoup d'utilisateurs. Comment vous avez fait, quelles sont vos recettes, peut-être à partager avec l'audience, sur l'attraction des premiers utilisateurs? Parce qu'on a toujours les images, évidemment, des sociétés connues aux États-Unis et de leur modèle, mais je pense que c'est intéressant de savoir comment en France, et puis tu nous donneras la double vision aussi, toi, par San Francisco, comment ça a démarré?
Tu veux savoir comment on a démarré, ou le B2B, ou je peux parler des deux aussi?
Parle des deux, tu peux parler, okay. C'est un débat ouvert.
Nous, on a démarré en attirant un petit peu la curiosité, et avec une petite base de users, on leur a permis juste de s'inviter gratuitement. Aucun reward à inviter d'autres, et ça a marché comme ça, et ça nous a amené assez d'utilisateurs pour avoir assez de problèmes pour continuer à développer notre produit. Et je pense que le B2B est extrêmement intéressant parce que nous, on a quand même une bonne base d'utilisateurs pro qui achètent des billets de train tout le temps et parce qu'ils voyagent en train tout simplement tout le temps. Et en fait, on amène beaucoup notre outil qui est en fait une plateforme d'accès aux billets de train très B2B au final, parce que c'est vraiment, au final, on ne vend pas un autre produit que nos concurrents, mais on donne une plateforme beaucoup plus belle et beaucoup plus, qui a plein d'avantages. Et en fait, on amène les gens B2B par le B2C. C'est-à-dire qu'ils vont acheter un billet de train, par exemple, pour leur week-end ou juste pour tester, parce qu'ils trouvent ça cool de tester un autre service. Et derrière, comme on a vraiment réfléchi le produit pour l'utilisateur, pour le client, il va rester chez nous et il va trouver ça naturel d'amener ce produit dans son entreprise et il va nous poser la question comment je peux amener efficacement, comment je peux convaincre mes collègues d'utiliser ce service dans mon entreprise.
Anyone else want to répondre
Je peux compléter en français et puis on passera en anglais après. Effectivement, là, nous aujourd'hui, on fait du B2B aussi. C'est assez récent.
Quand vous dites B2B, juste pour qu'on comprenne bien, c'est-à-dire que vous vendez la solution en marque blanche à des tiers?
En marque blanche, sous licence, à effectivement un tiers. Donc, on a commencé donc, par conquérir le grand public. Alors, une chose sur les services web ou mobiles, ce qu'il faut, c'est vraiment que le produit il soit utilisable le plus possible à l'international. Ça veut dire qu'il ne faut pas qu'il y ait de barrière de langue ou de localisation. Ça veut dire que là, nous, on a de la chance, c'est qu'aujourd'hui, vous soyez au Pérou, ou vous soyez au Japon, ou vous soyez en Allemagne, vous allez mixer pour Noël, pour le jour de l'an, etc. Donc, là, et il n'y a pas de texte. Donc, en fait, si vous avez un applicatif qui a peu de texte, comme les success stories qu'on a vu sur le mobile, Candy Crush avait des petits bonbons et voilà.
Instagram en gros.
Comment?
Instagram ou
Instagram, Candy Crush, Supercell. Bon, Candy Crush c'est plus d'1 milliard de dollars sur des diagonales de bonbons quoi. Mais l'avantage c'est que la diagonale de bonbons, elle va marcher aussi bien au Pérou qu'au Japon, etc. eDJing c'est pareil, on va scratcher aussi bien au Pérou qu'au Japon, etc. Ça c'est le premier point. Donc déjà si vous avez une application dans 182 pays, vous pouvez l'utiliser. Vous avez déjà 182 utilisateurs parce qu'il y a bien un gars dans un pays qui va l'utiliser. Et là vous avez le premier. Et après, il va en parler à ses amis, et après, ça avance. Sur la partie B2B, nous, maintenant, on a construit une marque. On a créé une marque eDJing, numéro 1 mondial du mix sur mobile. On est les premiers au monde en volume. On a fait ça, on est passé numéro 1 mondial en gros en 12 mois. Alors qu'avant, on était encore à l'école et on n'existait pas. Et du coup, grâce à cette notoriété de la marque, les tiers s'intéressent à nous en disant, bah tiens, eux, ils ont fédéré des millions de jeunes d'une tranche d'âge spécifique autour d'une marque, on va dire, qui représente la musique, etc. Bah tiens, moi ça m'intéresse d'acheter votre marque sous licence, etc. Et donc là, nous en ce moment, on est en train justement de passer des deals avec des tiers, puisqu'en fait, on a créé une marque, on a une communauté et on devient un média. Et à ce moment-là, on peut faire du B2B. Et là, il y a plein de solutions, de la marque blanche, de la licence, ou même voilà, des opérations spéciales, etc.
Ouais. Renaud, peut-être, maybe one.
We always had the idea that we were going to become a marketplace, so we started with the B2B angle because we needed to acquire an inventory big enough to attract consumers. So for the first 2 years, we were free, pure B2B play, trying to find all the organizers in the world, and that's pretty hard because they're very fragmented. We didn't have a typical profile, so we couldn't do market testing, for example. We had to figure it out as we went. 2 years in, we started the monetization effort. So we started making paid events, pay us a fraction of what they collected. And about 2 years ago, we started the consumer angle. So we are becoming a B2B2C model that's common with marketplaces.
Basically, in the US?
I think Ticketmaster it's similar. They have more of a consumer angle because they have this huge database that they spam every week. We try not to do that because we feel the data belongs to the organizer in the end.
That's your product touch, don't spam the people?
Yeah, I think that's part of our philosophy. We don't want to be a mass marketer of a bunch of links by email. That's not interested.
Kevin?
I was just, my product, KwikDesk, which is a discrete communication platform, a lot of people told me when I started, you have to choose. It's either going to be B2C or it's going to be B2B. And I thought to myself, but why? We've got two different products. The API can be used by other people to build upon our platform, yet we have this consumer play. And even today, even though it seems to be working, people are still saying, you can't do both, you can't do both. But if you can bring value to both markets, why not pursue it?
It's really hard to do both. We have 350 employees and we still struggle every day to figure out which one is the most important. So you dedicate resources, you do a lot of testing, figure out what works, what doesn't, how to grow each one, but it's a struggle.
Yeah, I've been on this road as well with NetVibes, doing two different streets. B2C and B2B is hard to mix. Someone just asked a very interesting question. Can the product replace marketing to evangelize vision? Kevin, what do you think about this?
Can the quality of the product, can it replace marketing? If the product is so valuable to the users, can it replace marketing? Well, we know that not always the best products make it to market. It's not always the best product who becomes the leader in the marketplace. So I don't know about that. I think without marketing, or whatever you want to call it, whether it's educating the users, you need to educate, whether it's B2B or B2C, you need to educate the potential user as to the value they're going to receive. And you need to do this quickly, and I call that marketing. So no, I don't think you can do it without marketing.
Anyone else? Any?
Well, we see a lot of companies built in very little time, like yours. Like you probably didn't spend much on marketing, and you grow very, very fast. Instagram is another example. With 12 people, they can manage to reach 50 million users or whatever they had at the time. So I think in the mobile device and the mobile products enable that much more than the web.
Anyone else want to?
Yeah, I think
this?
This is something hard to understand, but marketing should be in the product. This is something you can't divide marketing. You can do a good product, then do marketing on it. Marketing should be inside the product.
Part of the product.
And one thing we saw is that a good product won't give you new users just out of the woods, but they will keep your users. And if you do a good product, they will never leave it. That's something we saw in our analytics. They test the product and they keep it.
So what do you think about, that's interesting because when we discuss about marketing and product, we sometimes talk about new trends like creating a product becoming more like a media to educate, or using techniques like growth hacking and the new ways of increasing the value. We used to call that the viral loop. When the Hotmail, at the end of every Hotmail email you had, it's made by Hotmail, and people would just say, "Oh, it's great, I want to try this." And same with Instagram, a lot of products are designed like this. So, do you think, as these kind of techniques are quite popular now in the US, do you think they're catching up here? We have new ways of marketing, and also coming back to the idea of having to be a leader in a space. I would love to know, each of you, what's your number one advice to actually make a product successful, or the one learning maybe that you had through your different entrepreneurial journey that you could share with us? Maybe we'll start with you, and we'll go in order.
I think the most critical part in the long-term success of the company is execution. You can have the best product. If you don't have the right way to sell it or the right pricing model, you're going to fail. And that's something that changes every day as your company grows, as you add more people, as you add more customers, as you add more countries. Everything becomes more complex. Your products, once you have a phone product, a tablet product, a web product, it's so many products to maintain, and you need vision for each one and evolution for each one to make it in the long run.
Alors, une chose que nous avons fait, c'est effectivement, on n'a pas attendu d'avoir the perfect product, mais on a lancé tout de suite ce qu'on avait fait et ce qu'on pensait être entre guillemets potable. Ça veut dire qu'on a appris avec notre audience et on n'a pas attendu d'avoir le produit parfait pour lancer notre service. Parce que le problème, c'est que l'audience vient avec la qualité du service, mais il faut quand même tester et on ne peut pas savoir à l'avance ce que vont aimer les gens. Donc nous, en fait, en permanence, on recode l'application, les différentes parties de l'application tous les 6 mois à peu près.
Donc tu viens de donner la traduction française de ce qu'on appelle aux États-Unis le MVP, le minimum viable. C'est le produit potable.
Voilà. C'est ça.
Kevin, you want to
I think I just read the other day Richard Branson saying that you need to listen to the users. And I found that out yourself. No matter how much you think you understand your product and the roadmap for it, taking feedback from your users is invaluable. And I think also actually managing expectations. You know, what does success mean to you? If everybody in this room wants to build $1 billion company, some of them might be setting themselves up for disappointment. So I think managing your expectations as to what success means to you.
Yeah, I think what we learned is that there is not only a product, there is the whole experience around it. And this is why we focused a lot on the customer support, for example. What happens if someone uses your product and don't know how it works and there are always a lot of problems you could have with the product. So that's the whole experience of getting to the product, using it, having support on it. That's what we learned.
I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but building companies a product and having users just telling you how much they love it is just like a drug, you know. Every day is so exciting. I think it's like the main, would you share, is the main driver. Every day looking at people using it and thanking you for, you know, like making their life easier. I was going to ask, maybe, can we take questions from the audience? Is it something we can do? You're the DJ, so you might not know. But anyone wants to ask a question to the panel? I have one question here, but it's a bit similar, but how can you transform a product in experience for the consumer? I think we kind of got through here, but I don't know how much time we have. You might... It's 1 minute? Okay. One question? No one? I'm going to ask you one last question. What's your favorite product at the moment? What do you guys just love, enjoy? I know it's an expert question, but probably you?
Slack. We use Slack a lot in the team, and it's a...
The former Flickr guys who build the...
Yeah, it's a tool to communicate in the team that you can use on the mobile and on the web. And the onboarding experience, I think, is really great. And it's in one day, all the team was on Slack.
Amazing team, yeah. Yourself, Craven?
I just used it. Oh, sorry. I just used it to take a picture. It's a black and white only photo app called Linka. Getlinka.com.
You're biased.
I might have an interest in it.
Jean-Baptiste, toi?
Moi, plutôt dans le gaming, Boom Beach.
Pourquoi?
Parce que c'est au niveau marketing in-app, une des applications les plus abouties, comme c'est Supercell qui fait ça. C'est deux succès, que ce soit Clash of Clans ou Boom Beach, qui sont exceptionnels. Et au niveau marketing, je pense qu'au niveau de business model, ils ont tout compris. Donc je joue beaucoup pour apprendre un peu comment ils ont fait pour l'appliquer à mon propre business, en fait.
C'est terrifiant, hein. Même quand on n'a plus le temps de s'amuser, on analyse les produits.
On analyse les jeux. Ouais.
Et toi?
I have two. Sunrise from my friend Pierre, and Candy Crush to kill time.
You're a Candy Crush guy.
5 minutes here and there, yeah.
Keep the doctor away.
It's great to turn your brain off.
Ah, that's good. I think we're all good. We're on time. Thank you.
What's your favorite?
What's your favorite product?
What's my favorite product? Oh, it's a good question.
Tennis shoes.
My tennis shoes, probably, yes. Thank you so much for, I hope you enjoyed the panel as much as I did. And I think we're on time. We're going to leave it to the next guys. Thanks.
Merci beaucoup Tariq. On a tous compris l'importance du produit. On va faire une petite pause de 20 minutes maintenant, parce que tout le monde est fatigué. Et dans 20 minutes, à 16h50, on reviendra avec une question très intéressante et très internationale. What are the best ecosystems in the world? Donc on aura une annonce très sympathique à faire et des informations à partager. 16h50.